Welcome back to the Hirewell Hot Corner, where sports and recruitment meet. I am your host, Dan Patel, joined as always by my Iron Man co-host, Louie Marisi. Louie, great to see you again. Let's jump right in. What's going on in your world and the world of sports today?
Lot of stuff going on. Obviously, MLB spring training, about smack dab in the middle of it. Champions League football going on literally as we record. NHL and NBA seasons are in the last quarters of their seasons. NFL free agency kicked off this week, and a lot of splashes on both our ends.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers made a number of moves. I feel like it's probably the most active free agency week the Steelers have had in 20 years, maybe. Signing Russell Wilson for no money at all because of the Broncos, trading Deontay Johnson yesterday, going and getting Patrick Queen to anchor the defense. A lot of changes, but I think Omar Khan's kind of going for it and going all in with these moves, and I can't say I hate it.
Yeah, they're going in the right direction. Feel bad for Kenny Pickett and the fact that it seems like Russ is going to get that starting role over him, but either way, having a couple options is good for the Steelers. And then you know my side on the Bears, we signed DeAndre Swift and we signed Gerald Everett. Gives us a nice 1-2 punch at running back, and then in tandem with Cole Kmet, Everett will be good at the tight end. So uh, now we just got to build out or figure out what we're doing at quarterback and also fill out our wide receiver room.
I hope for your sake they don't do to Justin Fields what just happened to Kenny Pickett. I do like Kenny. If the Steelers think they can seriously win a Super Bowl or at least contend this year, I mean, Russell Wilson's going to be more of the guy to do that. But be interesting to see what the Bears continue to do. It'll be cool. But that's enough talking about football. It's March. Let's talk about what everyone else is actually talking about sports-wise in March. It's March Madness.
Yes, one of the best times of year. Shit, our company's doing half day next week just to get the people together, watch some basketball. So should be a good time.
Yeah, madness is in the air. The conference tournaments are in full swing. Already seen some crazy things happen. A few teams have already punched their tickets to the big dance. But I've always loved the concept of March Madness, other than just the days of full on basketball. Those are great because college basketball is a lot of fun. But the concept that in March Madness, 68 teams can walk in and realistically have an equal path to a national championship. Now, you do have your heavy favorites and you've got your sleepers and whatnot. But when you look at like college football, you walk into a season and maybe a dozen teams, it's a little more now with the expanded playoff, have a real shot at a national championship. In this regard, you win your conference, you're in. You have a full shot at the biggest tournament in college basketball.
I just love that the parity. There's so many teams involved. You got to be perfect throughout the whole process, or it's why we see a 1 versus 16 upset. It's no room for error. Quite frankly, you got to bring your A game every single game, and it's not just like the college football playoff right now, where it's 4 teams. You get 2 games. Different sport. We can remove all the physicality of football, all that, but this tournament is as good as advertised. I mean, every missed free throw could be all the difference.
Stay on the topic of parity because I think there are generally a few different tiers in which March Madness teams fall into. So you've got the favorites, you've got the heavy hitters. The teams who are always there in March have a wild amount of success. Your Dukes, your North Carolinas, your Kentuckys, 1, 2 seeds, maybe a 3 seed, expected to win multiple games every year. Then you got the mid-major powerhouses, those smaller enrollment schools, but they've made basketball their lifeblood. Talking like the Daytons, Butler, the Big East, Creighton. You're gonna see them every March. They're gonna make a splash in those middle tier seeds. They could make a long run at any given time. Then you got the Cinderellas. I think everyone's favorite part of the tournament is the Cinderella stories. They won their small conference. Should they be playing against these teams every day? Probably not, but they're here for a reason. And lately, we've been seeing a lot more victories in March from these teams. You got Fairleigh Dickinson, St. Peter's, Oral Roberts. The list gets longer every year because of how well these teams are performing when it matters most.
No one remembers everything, but you remember those upset wins, those Cinderella teams. Like, you know, that's how we tie it from year to year. Oh, what happened last year? Oh, we saw this team, Cinderella story. Oh, it was 2016. We saw Farley Dickinson, or we were talking about VCU the one year with Jacques Smart before he went to Texas. Like, you remember those Cinderella games, those big wins, and what even comes of that, they become household names. It's crazy how there's that impact from just one win, maybe two, or just going on a run at the least expected time.
And typically we do our 2 minute drills at the end where we make our picks for, our favorite thing of what we're looking at. But since there's such a focus in this tournament specifically about building the bracket and making your picks, we already got to move it up. What I want to do is I want to take, I guess, each of those different areas, those three major areas you see teams from. I want to know your favorites of each. So favorite big heavy hitter, favorite mid-major powerhouse, favorite Cinderella story, Louie.
By all means. And not that everyone knows this, but I'm a big North Carolina fan. So that's going to be my favorite, my heavy hitter. They're playing great basketball, beat Duke the other day. They got some guys that this is their last kick at the can, little extra, ammo for the arsenal. So hoping that that's, what we see, want to see them go all the way. Mid-major powerhouse, St. Mary's, California. They've made their name relatively recently in the last few years, being a solid team that goes 3-4, potentially longer than that as far as into the tournament. Cinderella, Morehead State, just gut instinct. Really nothing behind it, but you got to pick one, and usually it's the luck of the draw anyway. So see how that goes.
There you go. As far as favorites go, I don't know if they should be considered a powerhouse heavy hitter these days, but I feel like they're maybe a little newer to that is Houston, the Cougars.
Yeah,
They're going to be a 1 seed this year. And they've been top 2 or 3 seeds the last couple years in the tournament. They just feel so consistent and they're always so good, especially in the basketball world. And I know they were good a while back and they're good again. So I'm putting them in that bracket. Mid-major powerhouse. And I know we're going to get a lot of love for this one at Hirewell, but I'm rolling with the Dayton Flyers, man. I've been to a couple games this year, being over here in Ohio. Dayton feels like a good lock for the tournament. Should make some noise in the A10 tournament. They got a lot of good shooters. They got some impressive guys on that court. Hopefully they can tie it together and maintain some long runs. Cinderella wise, I always got to go for like the deep underdogs. And I'm staying in the Horizon League where my Robert Morris Colonials are. I'm going to roll with the Horizon League champions, Oakland University. Most people don't know who they are. They're going to probably walk in as a 15 or 16 seed, but they got one hell of a coach and a crazy fan base. Have you seen the videos online of the student section, the guy getting tattooed during a free throw? That's them.
I hadn't until you said the tattoo. I did see the tattoo. I didn't recall which school that was tied to, but oh man, that
That
hey,
is so
by all means,
I
what's
gotta go
what's
all in
March
on
Madness without a little tattoo in the crowd?
I gotta go in on them like to even to have a chance in the first round, regardless of who they're playing. You bring that energy and that level of coaching, like something's gonna go your way. But
Something.
Louis, how are we gonna relate this to recruiting? We're already real into this.
So yeah, we got creative for sure, and we're talking about kind of these three different, not going to say levels as far as I guess you could say levels, but in this case, we're kind of talking more to size. You got your big box recruiting firms, national brands, well recognized, thousands of employees. You got your kind of your mid majors, your specialized but not low as far as boutique size. Your 100 recruiters, your Hirewells of the world, and then you have those boutiques that are maybe just a consultant, maybe a couple of folks specialized in a specific area, and how they all do have their benefits and whatnot. Obviously, shameless plug, we're going to say the mid-major Hirewells of the world are the best of both worlds, but we got a good experience level where we can go far in any metaphorical tournament.
Yeah, you can certainly talk to each of these the same way we kind of covered those last tiers is you got the big box areas and they have just the manpower of 1,000 plus. Everyone knows them because they've been around. They're so large that they're like Walmart. They're everywhere. You got the mid-major powerhouses, the higher wells of the world. You're talking in the 80 to 200 employee range. We have people who are experts in all different areas can do it all pretty well. But we also have that level of personalization for being on the smaller side that we still relate to our clients. We maintain personal relationships, kind of what our goal is. A lot of times that those boutique ones tend to highlight, and then you got the boutiques. Sometimes it is one person. It could be someone who's been in the recruiting space for a long time. Maybe they worked 20, 30 years in a specific company, a specific industry, and now they've kind of gone off and done their own consulting world in terms of that side of this space. Could be a family-owned business, could just be very specific in terms of where they like to recruit out of, and you don't need a large operation. But they sit in that area, and they do that extremely well. Talk like the smallest teams in March Madness. Sometimes you get the ones who are the best 3-point shooters. It's just like that. They do this thing very well, and if you let them do it, they're gonna kill it.
Yeah, 3 points a shot, it's definitely it's indicative of the opportunity at hand. I think there's a need, if you need 100 people staffed up for a specific type project, yeah, those big box ones are the ones that have the most manpower to dedicate to a project of that sort. Now, if it's a 1-2 hire, or a couple hires across multiple different parts of a business, whether it's like a marketing role and then a tech role and then an internal contract or tech role, like there's ways to work with companies like a Hirewell who have the specialty in different areas, and have experts in each of them. And then, if you're a finance company and you want someone who solely does finance, that's all you hire for, and this person is a boutique by themselves consultant who's done finance recruiting for so long, it makes sense. There is that fit, and in each of these different levels fit for different initiatives.
Sure. I think this is all kind of a well-rounded approach to saying that all of these different companies, when given an opportunity in front of company X to be a recruiting partner, we all in theory have the same opportunity and the same chance of earning that business, just like anyone in the NCAA tournament has a chance of winning the tournament. But we still have our strong suits that we play into. Some have pros, some have cons of the work they do. And I think we're hitting at that we like the mid majors. We like the powerhouses. Man, it's just because we are. But we have the ability to scale up. We have 100 recruiters at our disposal and staff an entire company. But we also have the ability to work one-on-one with companies who are looking to kind of grow slowly or build out a specific region, because we are small but mighty, and we are geographically agnostic. We're based in Chicago, but I'm in Cincinnati. We have recruiters in Denver. We have a recruiter in Pennsylvania, Texas, California, Florida. We're all over the place. And it gives us the opportunity to kind of be localized experts as well as industry experts of specific things. My background is in healthcare, insurance, and a little bit in tech. Your background's in sales. We are divide and conquer type mentality, and we do it pretty well.
Absolutely. And when it comes to Hirewell, obviously, again, we do have a bit of a bias, but it's one of those aspects that we can provide a very relationship focused approach to this. It's not transactional where it's like, oh, can't do anything for me now. Let me know when you can. Like, we want to continue to foster these relationships with our clients for the long term, and build out these almost custom solutions to meet their hiring goals. Whether it is that one role, or it's a role every quarter for the next 4 years, or whatever it is, like, we have the ability to adapt. It's not all templated. It's not layers and layers of red tape. We want to make sure we're providing the best possible experience when it comes to hiring, and letting us do as much of the heavy lifting as you're willing to.
I think it's a really good way to summarize it a little bit. And we're gonna have to wrap up this 6 or 7 minute sales pitch with, it's all about the people. It's about customizing our solution to each of our clients. It's not kind of a one fit type thing. Uh, and just talk to us. You might not have a need now, you have a need later. I'm all about the people. You're all about the people. It's all about the people, what it comes down to. But call us Goldilocks. We're just right, sitting in the middle. So
Love it.
uh, on behalf of Louie and myself, thank you once again for tuning in to the Hirewell Hot Corner. Please do join us again in 2 weeks for our next episode. And as always, stay classy, LinkedIn.